This is Jonathan with GMS Faith and Patience, Riverside, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Basically, double honors to all of the elder apostles of Great Millstone worldwide for doing this work in all truth and sincerity to wake up the hopeful one elect and also to mark the 2/3. So let's get this video started. Since you guys want to believe everything the white man says, so let's go with the elder from New York.
These wacky ass Christians. I'd like to start off by saying Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. You just heard the title for this lesson, these wacky ass Christians. And, we've been dealing with them for the longest, and we're going to keep dealing with these demons pretty much until Yahweh Shai comes back. Pretty much their whole spin on certain things is pretty much plantation Christianity, the so-called white man's take on what the Bible says. And you know what? These Jakes out here, these Israelites, as long as the white man says it, the so-called white man, the Edomite says it, they cool with it. Salakia. But in this segment or lesson, we're dealing with the laws of the Bible.
Okay, so he said that since you guys only believe it if it comes out of the white man's mouth, so here we go. This is actually coming out of a white woman's mouth. I don't know, she may be confusion of faces, who knows, but she's telling the truth.
This is Deborah Taveras reporting live in Santa Rosa. This is September the 8th, 2018. We are filming the people that lost their homes during the fire that raged through here October 8th for several weeks. There are huge encampments of homeless people as a result of unable to have housing. We're here on the last day of probably 50 motorhomes, as you can kind of see the idea here of the motorhomes. This lined this entire area. The city of Santa Rosa has now forced removal of these folks. They're having to move continuously. They're not allowed any specific place to be. It's very unsafe on the streets. And if they don't move out by tomorrow, many have already moved out. We're seeing lots of vacancy along the road here where there are piles of people's possessions because they have to leave by tonight. I think it's tonight. So I'm standing here talking to someone that was burned out, lost their home as a result of the fires, and has not been able to afford or to even find an apartment to live in. So we're going to just get some questions answered about the difficulty of living in these circumstances. So about how many people, how long have you been in this area?
About 3 months.
So you've been parked here for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And about how many?
2 to 3 months. Yeah.
2 to 3 months. About how many people do you think? This is called the Corporate Parkway in Santa Rosa. About how many people total do you think were here?
I'm not sure.
Who are you?
I'm not sure exactly, but there was a lot of trailers. There had to be at least, I want to say at least a good 30 trailers over here that I've seen.
So 30 trailers. So
yeah, and there's probably a lot of people in those trailers too.
okay. So, and these are mostly, from your understanding, people that are victims of the fire, and there's no affordable housing, there's no rentals.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nowhere to live.
Exactly.
So people are doing the next best thing, and that's living in an RV.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm understanding that this corporate park, that Catholic Charities was providing showers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the mission.
Oh, the
Catholic charities have showers or tea party.
Okay. Would you like to stand here and contribute to the conversation?
I don't like to be on camera.
You don't. You
Not on
won't
camera.
put you
I'm behind the camera person. I worked for Sundance for 18 years.
Okay, we won't put you on the camera. So if you want to just stand where this.
Yeah, this
If you're the
camp has
leader-
a lot more things going on than we'll think. These are people from like 5 other camps that got busted and ran into this camp.
Okay, so we
They
need.
busted out the other
Okay, so
camp.
put it on pause for a second. Okay. And we're talking to a number of victims of the fires and circumstances of the inability for housing here in the Santa Rosa, Sonoma County area. Dozens, hundreds of people, thousands of people have lost their homes and have been displaced. There's questions as far as where are all the missing people. Certainly we know some very luxurious areas here in the county burned to the ground, Fountain Grove being one of those areas. We know total that there are about 5,300 homes that were destroyed in the entire area of the night of the fires that started on October 8th of 2017. In many different counties here, over 8,000 structures combining commercial and residential were lost. Right now, as we speak, we're going to pan the horizon going this way. We're in a corporate park center right now where many of the homeless people, as a result of the fires, have had to seek safe haven. There are RVs parked here. I'm understanding that there are different organizations that have been providing toilet facilities. No toilet facilities. Okay, fill us in on what is happening
all the
here.
toilets nearby that were public. So there were bathrooms at Kaiser and the welfare office. They shut immediately as the 10 people started to arrive. They busted out some of the encampments that were in the middle of town, and they came over into this camp that was already just RVs and cars. And so they shut all the bathrooms down, and then so there was probably about 125, maximum 136 when we did the census.
Here, at one time, there was about 120 some odd people here, combination of RVs and tents.
RVs, tents, and a lot of cars.
And a lot of people living in their cars.
Right. And they leave in the morning, so you don't see them in the middle of the day. They'll be here in dark.
So is your understanding of why this has occurred to the extent that it has as a result of the displacement of the inability to get housing because of the cost as a result of the fires?
Some people did lose their job because of fires. People can't get jobs because of fires. Some people lost their housing because of fires. But also, there's a whole lot of people who've been evicted. So I know people from all different agencies because they wanted to get rid of this low rent person or Section 8 person and rent to somebody for a larger amount of money because there's such a housing shortage. They're going to get temporary renters.
Okay, so let me address that. There has been a state mandate where, as a result of the fires, there's a rental increase cap. So apartment owners are unable to increase the rent beyond a certain percentage. However, that's not allowing people that have been here, that have had jobs, to stay in housing. Certainly we've seen a significant increase in rents, even for the people that are barely hanging on. What we're witnessing here, as I'm standing here Saturday, is the evening that all of the remaining RVs and tents are to be removed because tomorrow they will be forcibly.
It's way earlier than they said, too. The city said that they were going to offer them an RV park in the public meetings and in the paper and on the radio by the 15th, and there was nothing like that given to them as an option. They said they're going to crush their RVs down by the next day. They gave them 1 hour to get out, most of them. So the people you see here now are either delinquent or were not here at the time of the notice.
Or the RVs are broken down and they can't move out.
Abatements. They did not give any warning. Abatement means I could come take it right now and tow it, and then they gave the people in tents 1 hour, which is not really human. That's not humane.
We're hearing the consequences of devastating weaponized warfare being perpetrated not only in the United States but across the globe. We know that the fires were an execution as a result of Rothschild. Pacific Gas and Electric is Rothschild. We know that as a result of the intercepted emails that we have on YouTube, the YouTube entitled "Plan to Burn Up Northern California." Well, now you're seeing the consequences of the aftermath of the plan to burn up Northern California. As I stand here today giving you this report, I'm able to look at the horizon and I can see the smoke that is as a result of fires that are burning out of control right now a few hours north of us. The main freeway that traverses through Central California on up to Oregon has been shut down in both directions. In fact, 2 days ago, People were forced to evacuate their cars. They couldn't move, and they had to run. They were being told to run, just as what we saw in Greece. The roads were clogged. The people were burned alive in their vehicles. Many of those people had to, of course, evacuate into the ocean. This is happening in Sweden. This is happening in Greece. This is happening in Finland. This is happening in California, Oregon, Washington, because of the proverbial large-scale weaponization of the weather. And sadly, we're seeing victims of crimes against humanity. We're seeing the consequences of inhumane treatment to good and decent people that should not be put in this position. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Because living like this has been tough. What would you say is the toughest aspect of this in your experience in these conditions?
I would say just having to move all the time and not really being settled at all since the fires happened.
So being continuously displaced.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you have a core group of people that you are traveling with for safety purposes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to stay in groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What are the police telling you? Are they compassionate towards the circumstances, or are they having
Oh,
to...
no, they look at us like we're a joke. Like we're disposable.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't care.
So what are some of the kinds of things that that treatment has looked like? What have you seen?
As in what?
Law enforcement coming around here.
They just come over here and start kicking stuff around and...
Now, when you mean kicking stuff around, exactly what do you mean?
Like when there was tents up, then they'll start kicking them to hey, you know, who's in there, and start banging on the doors, and you know.
Oh, okay. So what
Pretty
would
much like we're doing something wrong, pretty much.
trying to survive?
Exactly.
How are most of the people here getting food?
I don't even know, to be honest. I have EBT food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I've been getting by, but it's not much.
What about water?
Sometimes we get the jugs and try to fill them up wherever we can get water from, any faucet or whatever.
Do you know what's going to happen to you when you leave here tonight, when you're forced to leave here tonight?
No, we're not even sure where we're going yet.
And yet you have to leave.
Yeah, we have to find a spot.
What is the deadline for the required?
Well, they already came today and told us that earlier today they said that we had 3 hours. So there's no way we could get all this stuff out in 3 hours. This trailer takes a hundred times, so we're trying to fix it right now.
So right now, it's important to understand that Santa Rosa is having its 150th celebration today in the Courtyard Square. So while festivities and joy and happiness is occurring there in a massive display of celebration, we have real life happening here. We have people that have to move, being forced to move where they don't know where they're going. So I want to say to all of you that are listening, we're in trouble. The only way that all of us are going to survive what is happening is that you must speak up. Your silence is your permission for this kind of inhumane treatment to continue to exist and expand. The homeless community here in Northern California has doubled or tripled since the fires. And there have been many people that have just left. We don't even know where many people have gone. But this area is decimated, and there continues to be fires as we become targeted further. So stay in touch with stopthecrime.net. Please look at our YouTube channel frequently, as we will be updating you on crimes. Again, this is Deborah Taveras reporting for stopthecrime.net on the scene of another crime. So start filming. Stopping. watching the last remnants of the people that have been forced out of housing. And we're seeing how people live when they're on the edge. Now, what you're seeing here are where motorhomes and RVs were parked. There were lots of tents. We just heard back there that there were somewhere around 130 people. Well, I should say 130 tents and RVs, and hundreds of people here for about 3 months. Most have left, so we're seeing areas that have been vacated. We're seeing remnants of people that were here. We can see piles of their trash, etc., because of course there was no trash provided here. And so it certainly did become a problem. But we're watching the displacement of America. We're watching the displacement of people that were living in an area that has been devastated. We're going to back up. We're going to talk to this fellow. We're going to see what his circumstances were as we film ahead of us. So do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? Can I record your voice but not your body?
Okay, excuse me?
Can I record what you're saying but not record your face?
I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
Okay.
Let's get it, if it's okay with them, we'll...
Then we're going to film you if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay, I want to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Okay, so we're here at the corporate center here in Santa Rosa. Right. We're here where people have been camped in RVs and tents for a number of months. There have been a variety of charities that have brought in some toilets and some washing facilities. Is that true?
They have talked about bringing stuff in, but they have not brought in porta potties or anything like that, ma'am. I worked at Kaiser.
Okay.
I was there for the last 7 months. I'm a union laborer.
Okay.
And the only time my trailer was broken into was while I was working for them, and I think it was my coworkers.
Okay. So what is your experience here? Are the majority of people that are here as a result of the fires and the lack of affordable housing? No. Why are they here? What is the main reason?
Because they have nowhere else to go.
Of course.
And
rents are too high, and no one can afford rents.
Well, and we figure we're not bothering anybody because at nighttime and weekends, there's nobody here. So
what this is this is a corporate facility of weekday jobs.
Right. And I actually know a couple of ladies that work right across from where we're standing.
Dump on their properties.
So they sought a place.
But they'd had like syringes and all kinds of stuff turn up on their property. And I'm telling you, it's not me.
Right.
I'm not going to point fingers at anyone. When people do get down and out, then...
I can't speak for other people, but most people respect private property.
This is Sonoma County. We are known for our drugs.
Well, yeah.
All of our beer and wine and all of this. And I want to just make a note right here behind us. We're seeing a chemtrail. Can you get this chemtrail in the frame?
Oh, yeah.
So we're seeing smoke on the horizon from the fires that are burning out of control. And we're now seeing a fire truck passing by right now. This is probably getting set up, maybe, or a form of harassment.
No, they cruise around because they're practicing since Kaiser opened and stuff. They made sure that no cars were parked on this side of the street, so they have total access in case something does happen at Kaiser. I actually know the fire marshal out of Monterey building, and down at the corner of Mercury Way, where it tees into this street. That's a county building.
So now let me ask you, you're being required to abandon this area tonight. Correct. What is the time, the deadline?
I don't know what deadline. I've actually removed my trailers from this street.
Okay, so are you in an area where you have friends so that you're not isolated and alone?
I've isolated myself. I've gotten away from other people.
Okay, well, I would recommend, it's extremely important because we're seeing mass refugees. You're a climate victim refugee. That's what you are.
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
And it's happening worldwide.
Yes.
For many reasons.
Yes.
And
global warming, which is they've been in denial from. They did some core samples off a drill.
Well, we won't discuss that.
I've
But
had conversations with people. It's not about racism.
So turn it off.
Class. It's class.
Howdy, how are you? What's up?
We got to record some barbecue.
You heard what she said. It's about class. It's about class warfare, rich against the poor.
Yes.
And
global warming, which is they've been in denial from. They did some core samples off a drill.
Well, we won't discuss that.
I've
But what
had
we
conversations with people. It's not about racism.
So turn it off.
Class. It's class.
You heard her. She said it's class.
happening worldwide
Yes.
for many reasons.
Yes.
And
global warming, which is they've been in denial from. They did some core samples off a drill.
Well, we won't discuss that.
I've
But what
had
we
conversations with people. It's not about racism.
So turn it off.
Class. It's class. About class.
Howdy, how are you? What's up?
We got to record someone barbecuing.
Not over here.
Who are you folks?
Huh?
Who are you folks?
We're here.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm wondering why you're doing, huh?
They're interviewing us.
Okay.
We barbecued yesterday, but that was yesterday.
No, it's fine to barbecue. As long as it's doing like a...
That was yesterday. It's not today. I don't know.
Oh, someone's just a bunch of smoke, so that's why we're there. It's what we do.
I know. Hey,
Smoke.
hey, I'm a personal friend of what's his name, the Mario Fire Department. Can't think of his name.
What's the status of the fire up north? Is it?
One.
Yeah, which one? The one beyond Shasta. Is the road still shut down?
As far as I know, yeah. I-5?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a new one in Various.
And it's got I-5 shut.
Various.
How many active fires do we have? Film this.
I don't know. Who are you folks with?
Where was Stop the Crime?
Yeah, I don't know how many fires total, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
One just started Various and the one in Shasta.
Well, stay safe. You guys are on the front line. Very dangerous.
All right.
Okay.
You're gonna have to get us guys who used to be quite a
I'm going to see my mom in like a year, and she's going to come to Lake County tomorrow, so I hope she's able to get over the mountain.
I think they're okay getting on.
Yeah.
So she's going to come and help you tomorrow? Or is she going to
She's just coming to visit.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to cut it for the moment here.
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna
my
give you
question
a
is, we've been together like 12 years. We've been able to, support ourselves
How did you end up here?
just because in the last 2 years it's gotten extremely expensive and just we haven't been able to be responsible for ourselves anymore.
So when you mean you haven't been able to be responsible, let's break that down for people that are going to be listening to this.
Things like,
You can't afford housing
right,
because the jobs aren't paying enough money.
right.
Okay.
And that's even if you can get hired, if you don't have a car and a driver's license and insurance, or just like there's always something in the way of, unless you have a lot of money already, kind of, it's like you have to have money to make money in a weird way, it seems like.
And the cup is passing from us to them. So let's go in here. I think this is it. See, 23. Okay, and this is the scripture I was looking for. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith thy Lord, the Lord Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt not more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, Bow down, that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over, which were the curses, because we broke the holy covenant. And now what we see is everything that was put on us in Deuteronomy is now coming on to them, slowly but surely. So Babylon is falling one brick at a time. You people who only listen to white people, mainly you 2/3. I hope you're listening now.
So you're being held down because of the circumstances that are prevailing now in the United States.
And even
Are you seeing a growing number of people your age in the 30s that are ending up in these circumstances?
I couldn't believe when we first became homeless, we actually had a car of our own, and we were driving over by Town, and I start noticing all these people my age and younger with bags, and I'm like, this is before the fires. I'm like, everyone's homeless right now. I was in shock.
Did you hear what she said? This was before the fires. She never seen that many homeless young people. And this was before the fire. So with the fires that are going on up there, and some are still burning, it's going to be more homeless, more drug addicts. Because when white people lose everything, they either resort to suicide or they resort to doing heavy drugs. And we know that it's an opioid epidemic going on over the whole world, but mainly here in America, because everything that you've done to all the other countries in the world are now coming back on you. It's called recompense. Malcolm X told you back in 1963, after JFK got shot, chickens are coming home to roost.
I don't know where it came from. It just seemed sudden.
So where are people in? You're seeing a growing number of people. Okay.
And that's even if you can get hired, if you don't have a car. And
They're okay getting here. So she's going to come and help you tomorrow? Or
she's just coming to visit.
Okay. You can't afford people. Let's
to, support ourselves.
think we're okay getting here. So she's going to come and help you tomorrow? Or
She's just coming to visit.
Okay. So we're going to cut it for the moment here.
So
I'm
my
going to give you a
question is, we've been together like 12 years. We've been able to, support ourselves.
How did you end up here?
Just because in the last 2 years it's gotten extremely expensive, and just we haven't been able to be responsible for ourselves anymore.
So when you mean you haven't been able to be responsible, let's break that down for people that are going to be listening to this.
Like,
you can't afford housing.
Right.
Because the jobs aren't paying enough money.
Right.
Okay.
And that's even if you can get hired, if you don't have a car and a driver's license and insurance, or just like there's always something in the way of, unless you have.
That's right. There's always something in the way. Just like when it happened to us, always something. Because we're under the curses.
A lot of money already, kind of. It's like you have to have money to make money in a weird way, it seems like.
So you're being held down because of the circumstances that are prevailing now in the United States.
And even
are you seeing a growing number of people your age in the 30s that are ending up in these circumstances?
I couldn't believe when we first became homeless, we actually had a car of our own, and we were driving over by Town, and I start noticing all these people my age and younger with bags, and I'm like, this is before the fires. I'm like, everyone's homeless right now. I was in shock. I don't know where it came from. It just seemed sudden.
So where are people ending up from your perspective? Do you have an idea of where people are going?
No, I don't.
Are they just disappearing?
There's a few people that have, managed to climb up and get out. Few.
I've got money to pay rent. Who's going to rent to someone that has an old antique Airstream? You got to be off the grid, basically. I want to go back to work.
I've heard of a lot of people getting sick and dying.
Talk to me about that. So you've heard about people getting sick and dying?
Random heart conditions where people were healthy. Yeah, here in Sonoma County, people were healthy and just suddenly,
Last week, Jennifer isn't dead. It's a different Jennifer.
That's good. No, I just heard some other guy had a heart attack.
How old are these people?
In the late 30s,
40s, 50s.
Okay, where are these heart attacks occurring? Here in the camps?
No, not here in the camp. I don't know the exact location. It's called the S-turn. I guess there's been a few people who have had some kind of a heart attack in that area. I don't know where that is exactly, but I could ask somebody and find out. Anyways, yeah, there's that. And then my friend, she said after the fires, she was always healthy. She's in her early 40s. Suddenly, she's got a huge heart condition. I think it's what do they ever have? Congestive heart failure. Yeah, she's got congestive heart failure out of nowhere after the fires, and she's worried. She's got 6 months.
Okay, so are you aware that there have been many reports of older people dying after the fires from heart-related and lung-related issues because of the toxins in the smoke and the
But it seems
poisons?
abnormally high to me.
It is,
Because those buildings burning are so toxic.
and that's right.
And there's been tons of people from all over the state who've come in to clean and do, professional cleaning for after the fires. And
They trained me for that. It was a 1 week.
So now wait, from out of state, you're observing people coming in? Did I hear you say out of state?
all over the state.
Oh,
They're out of the county. They're having a lot of people come from out of the county.
and what are they doing?
Professional cleaning.
For cleaning up the homes that have smoke damage?
Schools, buildings, apartments, homes.
Kaiser went through a big.
See, common sense would dictate. If you're really trying to help these people out whose homes were burned in these fires that were started by direct energy weapons, because I don't believe in global warming, but what I do believe in, that Esau, the Caucasian, the white man, does have the science and the technology to control the weather. And like the elder apostles have told us before, you know what? They put it in the movies. They show us in the movies, and there was a movie that came out last year called Geostorm. Go check that out.
Process.
So have you been able to get work through that? Or
No, that's what I mean. They're hiring people from elsewhere.
Oh yeah, basically, if they want to help these people out, they would have hired them. You know, the ones who were looking for jobs, the low class Edomites or the lower what do you call it, middle income white people who need jobs. They're not giving them to them. They're hiring people who do not live in Santa Rosa County. So there you go for your help. Kind of sounds like what they did to us during Katrina in Louisiana.
And having them come in.
okay.
I know one person locally that has been able to actually have their business grow from it,
Okay,
This is what they have to have.
but that's only one.
so in order to get employment, what you're saying is you've got to have identification.
You have to
yeah.
have this. This is what you have to have.
Some kind of certification.
That's certification. That's a 1 week long training course.
Okay, so this says Laborers Training and Retraining Trust Fund for Northern California.
Right, but doesn't
Certification of worker on hazardous waste operation, 40 hours.
40-hour class.
So there is a certification program that you go through in order to train for toxic removal after the fires. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's what
Okay, I was observing after the cleanup when FEMA was here over excavating the lots, removing too much soil, that they were not even wearing any type of protection. They were wearing some of the hazmat clothes,
Right.
but I saw nothing in protecting their.
Okay. Now we know that when commercial or residential structures burn, when they burn to the ground, everything toxic that went into making or maintaining that home burns up with it too. So therefore you have a lot of toxins and chemicals being released into the air that you breathe. So they got these FEMA people. Pretty much you can say they're Edomites too, but they're not protecting their own. And that just goes back to if a kingdom is divided, it cannot stand. So just when they came to Yahushua and say, how can you cast out devils out of people, demons out of people? The only way you can do that is you got to be the prince of the demons, Beelzebub. But you wacky tacky Christians, 2/3, don't get it. Don't get it. Most High is in control of everything on the left hand and the right hand side. So If FEMA, don't care about their own people when they should be wearing protective masks, when they're excavating, cleaning up, what's going to happen to them 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road? Which I don't think we got 20 more years. I don't know the day or the hour when Yahushua is coming back, but he's coming back soon. And I don't think it's going to be 20 years. So if they do make it to 5, if we do make it to 5 or 10 years from now, uh, these people are going to have all types of medical health problems. They're going to overburden an already overburdened healthcare system here in America, which goes right back to the main point. Don't want to hear from the elder apostles of GMS, but you want to hear from the white man. So here you go.
Thing.
It's called a tieback suit.
And tieback, yeah, tieback, yeah. And I saw nothing with protection. Now we're breathing toxins now. We've been heavily chemtrailed today. We have fires up north. Now what we've been observing is the heavy chemtrailing is holding all of the toxins down low so that we are essentially being basted in these poisons.
We had an inversion of the air where for like we had this cool spell and inverted.
Final day when these homeless people, largely as a result of the economy here in Northern California, and because of the fires, are to vacate forcibly. There are many reasons why some of the people are stuck. Collections have been stolen, their RVs have broken down, and tonight, if they're not vacated, their property is going to be confiscated and their RVs are going to be crushed. That's what they've been told. These people don't know where they're going. There are no jobs. Everywhere you can look here, you can see the RVs, but we're at the very last day when the majority of RVs have already been removed. They're traveling in groups so that they're safe. This is USA Inc. This is what is happening here in our country. We are being shredded by the economic hitman team.
You heard what she said, USA Inc. Incorporated, which means America is a corporation for you dummies who don't know.
They're traveling in groups so that they're safe. This is USA Inc. This is what is happening here in our country. We are being shredded by the economic hitman team. And this is an example of what weaponized targeting does to people when they're burned out of their homes. This is what it looks like when you're living on the edge, barely able to afford an apartment, and when other people's homes burn down and owners have moved in to the apartments to find a place to live. This is what this looks like. This is what they certainly think and are concerned that we're just watching their despair, but we're in their despair. We feel their despair.
And their despair is going to get worse. And throughout this entire video, I have not seen not one Israelite, not one Hispanic, not one Negro, not one Latino, not one Native American. So the cup is definitely passing from us to them.
Again, we're being chemtrailed. In United States Inc. This is Deborah Taveras reporting live in Northern California after the fires. I'm going to make another loop here as we take one final look, because these places will be gone tomorrow. They will be towed. most people, yes, have already left. This is Corporate Center. This is, again, inside.
Can't see it. Chemtrail here.
Again, you're likely seeing quite a bit of smoke on the horizon because there are numerous fires burning down here.
There's a 5G thing.
Okay, so have we passed it?
Yeah. Got a pole right
Okay,
there.
we're going to pause the camera for a moment. Let's, I can't see. Okay, so are you ready?
I'm recording.
Okay, so I want everyone to notice what a small cell deployment looks like on Pacific Gas and Electric wooden tower pole. You're seeing the equipment attached down below and over the top. You're seeing an antenna. This is what the small cell.
This is your antenna.
This is being deployed all over San Lorenzo and in Northern California. Particularly in areas that were hard hit with the fires, people are not around that are able to do this. In fact, we're going to show you more of these so that those of you that do not yet have the small cells being deployed or are wondering what they're looking like, we're going to show you. So we're on our way to another point of deployment where we've seen multiple cells.
So that was a video straight from Esau's mouth. And we're going to end it on that.